Hello, everyone. In recent polls, Kamala Harris has surged ahead, gaining a lead of up to 3 points in several pivotal swing states. Let's delve into the latest polling data and begin to color our map, starting with the states solidly in the Republican column. Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska at large, Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, South Carolina, West Virginia, and Maine's 2nd Congressional District. On the Democratic side, the states solidly backing the Democrats include Hawaii, California, Washington, Oregon, Colorado, Nebraska's 2nd District, Illinois, Washington, D.C., Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, Maine's 1st Congressional District, and Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, Harris has a lead of 1.5 points over Trump, an increase from Biden's 1.2-point victory in 2020. Harris's likelihood of winning in Pennsylvania is bolstered by her substantial support in urban centers like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, along with her appeal to the working-class voters in the state's industrial zones. In Michigan, Harris is ahead by 2.3 points, a slight improvement over Biden's near 3-point win in the previous election. Her prospects in Michigan are strong due to the support she garners from labor unions and her policies aimed at rejuvenating the auto industry, which are well received by voters across the state. Moving on to Wisconsin, Harris holds a lead of 1.6 points. The state was tightly contested in 2020, with Biden securing a victory by a margin of 20,000 votes. Harris is well positioned to take Wisconsin by ensuring high voter turnout in liberal bastions such as Madison and Milwaukee, while also gaining ground with suburban voters. In Minnesota, Harris leads Trump by 6 points, slightly less than Biden's 7.1-point margin in 2020. Harris is expected to win Minnesota thanks to her robust support in the Twin Cities metro area and her progressive policies, which resonate well with the state's traditionally liberal voters. In Iowa, Trump leads Harris by 4 points, a narrower margin compared to his 8-point victory in 2020. Trump appears poised to clinch Iowa once again, capitalizing on his solid base among rural voters and farmers who value his policies on agriculture and trade. In Nevada, Harris has a slight lead of 0.5 point over Trump. While Biden won the state by 2.4 points in the previous election, Harris's edge in Nevada could be attributed to the strong support from the state's burgeoning Latino population and the backing of influential labor unions in Las Vegas. In the battleground state of Arizona, both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are neck and neck, with Harris slightly ahead according to recent polls. Despite Joe Biden's narrow victory in Arizona by just 0.3 percentage points in the 2020 election, the state is still considered highly uncertain. However, Harris has a promising chance to secure a win if she successfully engages the increasingly significant Latino demographic and captures the attention of moderate Republican voters residing in the suburban regions. In the state of New Mexico, Kamala Harris enjoys a robust lead of 9 percentage points over Donald Trump. Biden's prior victory in 2020 by nearly 11 points indicates a strong leaning towards Democratic candidates. Harris appears well positioned to comfortably win in New Mexico, benefiting from her appeal among the state's ethnically diverse electorate and voters who prioritize environmental issues. Over in Alaska, Donald Trump currently holds a 5-point lead over Harris. Having won Alaska by 10 points in the 2020 elections, Trump is favored to dominate once again. His ongoing support among the oil and gas sectors, coupled with his widespread approval in less densely populated areas, solidifies his standing in the state. Turning to Texas, Trump has established a 6.2-point lead against Harris. His previous win in Texas during the 2020 election by a 5.6-point margin suggests he remains a formidable contender. Trump's appeal in Texas is reinforced by his focus on critical issues such as border security and energy policies, resonating strongly with the conservative and rural voters in the state. In Florida, Trump is ahead by 4.2 points, building on his 2020 victory in the state by 3.5 points. His strategy to win Florida again seems to be on track, bolstered by his strong support base among the elderly, Cuban Americans, and residents of rural areas, all of whom are pivotal demographics in Florida's electoral landscape. In the closely contested state of Georgia, Trump leads by a narrow margin of 1 point. Biden clinched Georgia in the 2020 election by approximately 12,000 votes, a razor-thin margin. Trump's slight advantage could potentially turn into a win as he focuses on rallying rural supporters and emphasizing election integrity, a major concern for his core supporters. In North Carolina, although Trump leads, Harris is rapidly gaining ground. The state remains fiercely contested. Trump won North Carolina by a 1.3-point margin in 2020, and his current lead is just 0.3 points. The competitive nature of this state highlights its critical role in the electoral landscape, underscoring the potential for shifts in voter allegiance as both candidates vie for crucial swing votes. In the upcoming election, despite Trump's popularity in rural regions and his strong conservative base, he may secure a slim victory. In New Hampshire, Harris is projected to lead by 7.5 points. No margin from the 2020 elections is available, but given Harris's progressive viewpoints and her resonance with the state's educated and politically active voters, she is expected to win in New Hampshire. Moving over to Virginia, Harris is ahead by approximately 8 points. Biden previously won Virginia by 10 points in the 2020 elections, and it appears Harris will also win, thanks to significant support from the diverse and populous Northern Virginia and from college-educated suburban voters. In Ohio, Trump holds a 9-point lead and had won the state by 8 points back in 2020. He seems set to repeat his victory there, continuing to appeal to the working-class voters in the state's former industrial sectors and rural areas. If this electoral scenario holds, Kamala Harris would win the presidency. However, it's important to consider that even minor shifts in polling data could significantly alter the election's outcome. For instance, if states like Wisconsin and Michigan were to switch allegiance from Harris to Trump, it would result in a 26-vote swing in the Electoral College, potentially paving a path to victory for Trump and compelling Harris to explore alternative strategies to achieve the required 270 electoral votes. This would likely amplify campaign efforts in Pennsylvania and signal a potential shift in the preferences of working-class voters. Conversely, if Georgia and North Carolina shift from Trump to Harris, she would gain a 31-vote boost, offering her more leeway in the electoral strategy. This could even allow her to lose a state such as Wisconsin or Arizona while still clinching the Electoral College victory. Such a scenario would also underscore the growing Democratic influence in the South, likely spurred by shifting demographics and increased minority voter turnout. These situations illustrate that the entire election can pivot on minimal polling changes in just a few crucial states. Let's also explore how the electoral landscape might look if odds, rather than traditional polling averages, were to accurately predict the outcome of the 2024 presidential race. This alternative viewpoint presents a fascinating divergence from the norm. According to current odds, Vice President Harris is predicted to win key battleground states including Nevada, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, Virginia, and New Mexico. On the other hand, former President Trump is expected to secure victories in Iowa, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Texas, Arizona, and Alaska, according to the betting markets. This election could truly swing either way, and despite polling that previously indicated a landslide victory for Joe Biden, the last election proved to be nail-bitingly close in the Electoral College, suggesting a potentially even race this time around. As November approaches, remember to stay active in our discussions by liking, commenting, and subscribing for further detailed analyses and the latest updates.